Hello guys, it's me Zain, and it's time for us to talk about the most boring plant on our planet, the living rock. Okay, I was just kidding, this plant is pretty amazing, and since I'm doing succulent videos and never touched this topic, it was main time for me to do a video about lithops, and also it's their season right now, so I thought let's do this. I've done quite a few watering and care tips videos about succulents, but with lithops some other rules have to be taken into consideration because they are a little bit different. Well, just look at them. And if you're already here on my channel, consider the option of subscribing to my channel, hitting the bell button icon too, and also consider the option of following me on Instagram, and let's start this video. Okay, so let's start this video by the fact that I started collecting succulents, mainly these Echeveria and sedum types, you know, these little rosette type succulents, which are the most amazing succulents in my opinion. Stone me if you don't think I'm correct. But I have a few succulents popping up here and there which are different, for example like cacti or the Hoyas or the Senecio or these plants which are basically very random because they are not a usual houseplant look with leaves and stuff. They do different shit. So I have two pots of lithops here. This is one of the pots with these tinier lithops in there, and this is the second one. Well, the pot is tinier. I have these two lithops there. One of them is flowering slash budding, I'm not sure about that. And since it's their season, I thought it's main time for me to do a care tips video. Okay, so even their name lithops means stone face in Greek. We can clearly see what's going on here. They look like rocks basically. They called pebble plants or living stones or whatever. When I was a little kid, I was pretty much confused about this plant. Is that a plant? Is that a rock? Is that a living thing? Why is my mother watering stones? I mean, what's happening? I was a bit confused about this shit. Then I realized they are actual plants which are growing and flowering. Actually, this look is coming from their adaptation to their arid environment, which is like in South Africa regions, more dry climates. Animals try to eat stuff which is living, and these plants, they just don't want to be eaten, so they try to mimic the environment where they're living. So they came up with this pretty amazing appearance. They look like rocks. The animals will go there and they will be like, oh hey, I'm not gonna eat a rock, will I? I will eat juicy grasses and stuff. This rock is not appetizing at all, so I won't eat it. So that's how they evolved, that's how they try to survive. And the other thing, they try to survive by limiting all the stuff which is going around with this watering and using up the water and evaporation of the water. So they have this pair of leaves. Actually, it's two leaves which are fused together, and there is this indentation or slit in between these two leaves. Inside where this slit is, there is another set of new leaves, and there is the point, there is the stem something which actually can create the buds or the new pair of leaves, or actually new pair of lithops in some cases. So the whole growth cycle is basically really easy with these. They have these two pairs of leaves, they can bloom, after it they can create a new pair, and that's all, which might seem very basic and very boring for some people, but not for me, bitch. And these lithops, they said, oh, we want to be different, we want different care. I said, I'm not gonna bother with you, okay? I have my other succulents like Echeverias and stuff like that, and basically the watering for them is like I have to water them a lot in spring, summer, in the autumn, and in the winter. I just don't water them really often because I don't want them to rot. They are in their rest period, and I just don't want it to bother with my lithops, providing different care for them. So I figured out how can I water my lithops with meeting their needs and without rotting them out. So basically the growth cycle and the watering and everything with lithops goes by the following. We will start by the autumn time because that's the time when they usually flower. So autumn comes and they start to flower if they are old enough. Sometimes they are not old enough because they were sold as seedlings or whatever. They can flower when they are old enough, like this one here. and I just cannot get the perfect shot of this flower opened up. Every time I look at it, it's closed. Like, I feel pretty much cursed. After the flowering, the growth cycle continues in winter because they start to grow a new pair of leaves. Actually, the sight of new leaves growing out from between the old leaves, it can be quite disturbing. It was for me, and I was a little bit disgusted. So as the new leaves are growing inside, they push out the old leaves and the new leaf emerges, and the old leaf is slowly but surely wilts away and dries up, and it can be really easily removed after they dried up completely. As I said, it was disturbing for me. It might not be disturbing for you, but it's funny. And in the winter time, again, it's colder, and as with other soft succulents which are not hardy and they cannot withstand frost, we can go down to like 5 degrees Celsius, which I pretty much don't know in Fahrenheit, but I write it somewhere. So after that, we make sure that we don't freeze them to death. The watering is another consideration here, because at this period we have to keep them dry. We don't want to rot them out, and too much water will stay there because it's cold, it won't evaporate, you know, all this stuff with winter watering of succulents. So it's safe to keep them dry. After that, in the springtime, when the warm temperatures come again, we can continue with the watering and everything will be fine with them. And after that, when the summer comes, well, the summer is the interesting part with this one. The heat of the summer will cause them to go into dormancy, and I'm not sure how proper dormancy is that, because every source I can read about them says they go into dormancy, but the full dormancy usually means that the plant will lose all of the leaves. But again, if this plant would lose all of the leaves, there is like no remaining stem which would remain there. So I'm not sure how true the true dormancy of these are. For example, these bulb plants which have bulbs in the ground, they go into proper dormancy because they basically lose everything. The bulb remains there. Catasetum orchids go into proper dormancy because they lose all the leaves and stuff like that. There are some other plants, for example like echeverias, which don't go into dormancy but rather winter rest. I'm not sure if their winter is a proper winter rest since they are growing, so it's not a rest. We just have to water them less since it's winter time. I might be completely wrong here, but in my mind, in the winter time we don't have to water them because we don't want to rot them out completely. And in the summertime they don't lose all the leaves. Maybe it's just a rest period, not a proper dormancy. It might be a proper dormancy, I don't know. I'm just playing around with these words here, whatever. In the summertime, we don't have to water them in the heat because they go into dormancy according to some sources. What I was doing, I keep my succulents outside and I just water them regularly when there is a long period of drought. When I'm watering my other succulents, I just don't water my lithops because they are in this so-called dormancy. But in the summertime, in my climate, we get rain and I don't have my succulents sheltered. And I just don't care about that. I don't care if my lithops get rain in the summertime. I won't like move them inside and outside again when there's raining, because that would be so much of a hassle and I would hate them so much. So I put them out. There you go. You survive. I literally did not have any rotting issues with my lithops, which were getting a little bit of water in the winter time because I don't want to like desiccate them, completely dehydrate them. And also the rain in the summertime did not cause any harm to them. I didn't have a single rotting issue, but every source I read about lithops say you don't have to water them in the dormancy in the winter time and whatever because they will rot out. Well, it did not rot out for me. I just made this fusion of the care and the care tips from the internet with my climate and with my experiences. So basically I can only tell you what I'm experiencing here with them, and I can share only my care tips, but since there are other care tips, I talked about them as well. So basically this video is a compilation of my experiences versus the care tips from the internet, so you can get everything, every idea. My climate is a temperate climate. I got proper winter with freezing temperatures and I got hot summers, so that's where I'm living in, like middle central Europe, whatever. And about this sunshine, they get, well, a few hours, quite a few hours of sunshine from sunrise to like noon-ish. and after that in the afternoon they get only filtered light. They are happy with that. With these care tips I was able to rebloom them, so I guess that's good. You can get these lithops or lithops seeds like basically everywhere. If you search lithops on the internet, eBay or whatever, you will find lithops because they are very common plants, and there are some rare varieties, there are some hybrids and stuff like that, you know, with like other plants. You can get some pretty amazing colors. The basic colors are these greenish or brownish creamy colors, but some can have rather brighter colors, some can have darker or more pale colors, but this stone-ish appearance is really common along them because they are called like that and they evolved for that. As you can see, my flower is this yellowish color, but you can get some other colors like whites or in between the whites and the yellows. So this is the color palette of these plants basically. If you want to propagate them, you can propagate them by seed, which is more common, or you can propagate them by cuttings, which is not that common. Every time these two leaves split and there is a new pair of leaves revealed, sometimes two pairs of leaves, and basically you can actually separate them, so you will get two plants. And it's not like super rare, but it's not that common. But this is a propagation method as well. So I think these are the most basic ideas and the basic care tips about lithops plants, and I hope you like this video. If you liked it, click on the like button. You can subscribe to this channel. You can hit also the bell button so you get notifications every time I post. You can subscribe to my other channel. You can leave a comment down in my know-it-all section, and you can follow me on Instagram. And see you next time. Bye guys.